Good morning, and welcome to Connections Radio Show, where we talk about ideas that matter. And sometimes we giggle a little bit too. I'm glad you've made the connection and are with us today. I'm Lori Fitz, your host, and the goal of our show is to explore a wide range of topics that challenge us to see ourselves, our community, and the world around us in ways that get us connected and perhaps inspired or challenged to do just a bit more because we've made that connection. Our topic today is We Are Not Alone and We Are Not Nuts. And hosting with me is Ricky.
Ricky Ricardo.
It's Ricky
That's
Bernardo.
my real name.
No, Rick Bernardo,
Oh,
who
okay.
has invited the return of a very special guest for today's discussion.
Yes, and that person is Gina Barreca. She's edited over 20 books and written even more, and has a Psychology Today column. And this is her fifth time with us. And I looked her up some years ago after I saw only the title of her book. They used to call me Snow White, but I drifted, and I thought that's a connection I have to make with this person. Hi, Gina.
Hi, I'm so glad to be here with both of you. And this is nice. This is like, hosting Saturday Night Live for the fifth time or something.
For the
It's what
fifth
it
time.
is.
Yeah.
You know?
You get your jacket. We'll send the jacket in the
Yeah.
mail.
Yeah.
So, Gina, you've written another book, and this one is fabulous as well.
Oh, thank you. It's called Gina School. And so, like, this is, I just decided, at 68 now, and happy to be here, be at 68. And I thought I'm just going to say everything that I've wanted to say and just didn't have either the courage to say it before or hadn't summed it up as succinctly. And I just wanted to get everything out. And it is a tiny book because I don't know that much that's true in the world. It's 103 observations about life. And each of them, it's been described. It got a terrific review. I was so delighted
All
at
right.
Publishers Weekly. It got 4 stars. But it's an illustrated book, and that's something that you don't see that much anymore for grown-ups, right? There used to be, like in Robert Benchley's books, he used to draw with his humor essays. It used to be
Aw.
illustrated books, but this one is for every shibboleth, every statement I make. There's a beautiful illustration that is not often a literal one, but it's an interpretation of the line that I'm saying. So that, for example, in one of the truths about life, and a lot of them are like, hey, honey, is it
Gina, we've lost you for a moment. I hope that you can hear us.
It was just something slightly frozen. It's not the weather.
Okay.
While we're waiting for that to reconnect, let's give some context for where Gina was going. She's a University of Connecticut professor for many years. So she knows something about education. And we could talk about, her other books.
Or I can give a little bit more context
Yeah,
as
yeah,
well.
yeah. Thanks.
Gina has written a book that has 103 lessons. And as she was sharing, there are amazing illustrations. And one of the questions that I'm going to be wanting to ask her is how she met her illustrator.
Yeah.
In fact, what I'll do is pull up one of the lessons and share it with the audience. And I'm going to have Rick go check with our engineer to see if there's
Okay.
something that he can be doing.
Okay. You
All
do
right.
that. You pull up one of the lessons. Oh,
And yes, go ahead. You're about to say.
I don't know, Gina. Can you, if you talk,
I'm
or
back.
there you
I'm
are.
back.
Okay, all right. There's see what I did very quickly. All right.
All right, Gina, you were about to say about the illustrations, and can you hear us?
Yes, I could hear you.
Okay.
Yes, I was just talking about the fact that what distinguishes this book from the others is not only the sort of succinct little way that I'm trying to sum up
They're
what I've learned
nuggets.
about life, but the illustrations. And just this is lesson 100: is that the intensity of an emotion does not imply the durability of that emotion.
Exactly.
which, I mean, however passionately you feel, it doesn't mean you're going to feel that way forever. But the artist, John Gabet, did the perfect illustration, which is a pinata.
Oh,
And it is this very sad looking,
Yeah.
daunted looking, nervous looking pinata. And I thought the pinata is the perfect version of this. So this is, again, just to talk about it, and like I would love to have our usual layered conversations about these things. But that this book is the anti-AI book.
oh, I love
Gene,
that.
Gina School could only have been written by two human beings. And John, again, I've been you said, I've been at UConn since the Earth's crust cooled. I've been at this job since 1987.
Wow.
That is a lot. We were still dancing to like, walk like an Egyptian, right? I mean, that's what was the number one hit when I, first got to this campus. And John is a 27-year-old man, and he was a former student. And he's just finished his MFA and his master's in arts administration. And but this was written, so it's an intergenerational product. It's an intergenerational creative endeavor. With him being, he's a guy, and this is, and I'm coming at this from, he is a feminist, but I'm coming at it from my particular little old lady universe. And we really had to meet to sort of connect the different power sources that we were coming from, for him to do the art for this book and for me to do the writing for it. And so this is, if we talk about creativity, as we've often done, the three of us, right, when we're
Mhm.
when I'm lucky enough to be in conversation with the two of you, that creativity, comes out of an irreplaceable human, just as you emphasize, connections between people.
Yep.
And it is not what AI can do. AI can only do what, even in terms of creativity, what Dr. Frankenstein does.
Yeah.
It can animate dead flesh, right?
Right,
It,
it does, and it sometimes does it just to please you. It's not
yeah,
necessarily truth. It's
I
bizarre.
absolutely. But it's not real. It's
Right.
not actually creative. It's patched together. And that's very different from actually making something new. So John and I made something new with this, and it's sort of a new form, and it's been fun.
It I believe will create conversations, and of course that I love being in radio to have those kinds of conversations and having what images mean something to you. Now, when I looked at the number 100 image in terms of thinking about it is that strong emotion, that powerful emotion might not be the lasting one, right?
Right.
You thought of it as a pinata. Well, I looked at it with my Scandinavian background that it looks like a Dala horse.
Oh,
And a Dala horse is really a magical and has a lot of mystique around the horse inspired. And it's really about strength and courage. And so I looked at it as not something that needed to, fall apart and have candy throw out, which isn't bad. But
Yeah.
I
I
looked
like
at
that.
it in terms of its strength and courage to get through that as well.
that's great. That's absolutely wonderful. And
And
I think that the idea of hearing what people again bring to every page,
mhm.
because I'm so used to just dealing with words,
Yeah.
that to then add this other element, it's like cooking in with an entirely other set of ingredients, that it makes, there's a richness and there's another dimension to the book because of the art, that opens it up to even more reactions from the people who have the book in their hands. So it's really been in the way that fortune cookies,
Mhm.
you really look at the fortune cookie and it's like, I hope nobody's really betting the numbers, exact. But but again, it opens up conversation. It opens up, it gives you something that you're going to react to, that's going to bring back memories, that's going to get you involved in some way that you didn't expect to with an idea.
An idea that inspires thoughts over and over again, because you can read it one time and have one flood of memories come to you and ahas, and others that like, oh, that I'm pulled in by that. I'm going to need to come back and think about that. And I love that about sort of the magic. I love a good book. I love reading a good book. Books are good.
Yes, books.
But this is kind of an adventure. This is, the combination of these marvelous graphics that somewhat remind me. One of the lessons you have is about the giving tree and how it's hard sometimes as an adult to read some of the children's books because they have more power almost as we get older, with both the pain and the happiness that can come with a memory. And I felt like that was very reflective of the giving tree art almost.
Well, this is actually, it's really interesting because I want to hear about your relationship with the giving tree, because what I was talking about was Goodnight Moon.
Oh, Goodnight Moon, that's right. That's
And
right.
no, so, but the giving tree is also, I've gotten into arguments with people about the tree, because like the giving tree is I remember one friend knew the book better than I do, but was talking about the giving tree as this sort of toxic narcissist that just kept taking and taking and taking everything, and that sort of persuaded whoever was wanting to give that it just it went on to this sort of thing where I thought, oh my God, the giving tree is is a toxic narcissist and doesn't care and can't stop. And I thought, that's really scary. And
The simplicity opens up all of these resonance and ripples and counter influences and histories.
This was, for me, the one it's lesson 61, and again, it's one of my favorite illustrations. It's very sort of Edward. It's like a cross between Edward Gorey, who I love, and his whimsical illustrations. But this one is like something out of a Dickens illustration, a Victorian illustration, where I say the phrase "dysfunctional family" is redundant. Nobody's home life is uncomplicated. Few childhoods are easy. That's why adults weep when reading children's books. I can't even finish Goodnight Moon because by the time we're saying goodnight to the fire escape or whatever the hell else we're leaving behind, I'm sobbing uncontrollably. I see Goodnight, and I got into an argument with a friend of mine who got to that page and texted me, and she said, "You ruined Goodnight Moon for me."
Oh.
I said, "It is impossible for me. I'm not accepting that. I can't ruin." She said, "No, Goodnight Moon is all about how you say goodnight to things because you know that they'll be there." And I said, "No, for me, it's death. It's saying goodbye to everything because you might not see it again." And she said, "Do you really cry at Goodnight Moon?" I said, "I really can't get through it." I mean, it's not only like Charlotte's Web, where you have these adults saying, "No, I want to introduce my children to the idea of the life cycle," but they're like sobbing when they're getting to the end of the book, and I'm thinking, is this really the healthiest way? Do you really don't you want to take them to a farm and you say, well, here's the egg and here's the chicken and here's our sandwich we're having later, and this is the life cycle.
And by the way, I'm going to take out that web in the corner. It's just who needs spiders?
And so it's like,
yeah, cycle of life isn't always pretty.
Yeah.
With that, I do need to have us go to break, but I will leave it with that Gina School is a witty and insightful guide offering emotional support and daily inspiration, teaching readers to embrace laughter as a way to connect with others. And that's what's being said about you on Amazon when you want to buy the book, which of course I've already told you that I'm going to buy 10 of. So you can go to Amazon and you can look up Gina Barreca and look at Gina School, or go right to her website, Gina Barreca, which is spelled BARRECA.com, or you can go to thewoodhallpress.com. And we need to be back because, of course, we've run over.
We'll be back.
Stay with us on Connections Radio Show.
We'll stay here.
Okay. Welcome back. I'm Lori Fitz, your host, and welcome to Connections Radio Show, where we talk about ideas that matter. And I'm glad you've joined the conversation. Our topic today is a good one. We are not alone, and we are not nuts. And joining with me is Rick Bernardo as co-host, who has brought a very special guest.
We have Gina Barreca. She's a University of Connecticut professor for at least a couple of decades at least, right? And
Five or six?
Yeah. No.
Stop.
She's
Exaggerating.
Yeah, exactly. And she knows education, and her new book is Gina School. Some of our other books were They Used to Call Me Snow White, But I Drifted, Babes in Boyland. Now these titles alone tell you there is maybe a sense of humor going on here, right? And so that's the person we're with. There's another title called It's Not That I'm Bitter, or How I Learned to Stop Worrying About Visible Panty Lines and Conquered the World. So Gina Barreca, that is you.
Well, I'm still not done conquering the world, but
Good.
I'm getting close to it. But that's why I thought for Gina School, which is the latest book, what we're coming up with, the publishers, Woodhall Press, said, give us one line on the front that not only says Gina School, but what is it about, or what are people going to get from it? And I said, for school, it's not what they teach you, it's what you learn.
Yeah.
There's a difference between what life tries to teach you and what you learn from life. And there were lots of things about Gina School that I'll tell you how it started, which I talk about in the introduction. I had been, for years, again, Rick was very nice. I've been writing books. For 20 years, I was a columnist for the Tribune Syndicate when newspapers were still doing these things. So the columns were published, across the country and actually around the world. And I still write for Psychology Today. And I thought, okay, this is, I pay attention. I'm used to writing sort of a regular 750 word pieces. And, so but I always take things down. I can't write fiction. I cannot invent. I can only record, but I pay close attention, right? So that's how it works. And so it really is, the humor in life comes out of, you don't have to make it up. You just have to overhear it and write it down right away. So I was at an old friend's anniversary party. This couple had been married for 30 years, and they actually, not the kind of parties I usually go to as a girl from Brooklyn. Actually, she's also a girl from Brooklyn, but she had a party. She and her husband were hosting a dinner party in Provence, in France.
Oh, my goodness.
Where they live also part of the year. And so it was like 30 people. It was like part of a castle.
Wow.
I mean, it was amazing. And, it wasn't just like, they got a booth at IHOP. They really did that. Real. And so people from all over the world, they had friends in different fields who all came in. Their two adult daughters were there. And, I was right there with one of the daughters and her, at that point, fairly new boyfriend. So, to sort of test the waters and see, like, do we like this guy? They were unsure about him. So I'm seated next to, as a close friend, I'm seated next to the guy that they're not sure everybody else can handle. That's fine. I'm used to dealing with young people after all these years. And so he's sitting there, and we get menus printed out of what they have chosen.
Oh my goodness.
So they have chosen, what we're eating, these delicacies, and their wine pairings for each course. And for those who don't drink, there was Perrier, there were, carafes of sparkling water. And so this nice young man says, he looks up, looks at the wine stuff and says, you know what, I'm going to get a gin and tonic. And I put my hand on his arm and I said, you're not. I said, no, you're not. I said, they have a certain number of servers for here. They have chosen the wines to go with the foods. And you are not sending one of the servers appointed to this part of the castle to another room that he's going to have to go to so that he can get you a gin and tonic. And he said, well, I'm just not a wine guy. I said, then have water. There's water.
There's
in the
Perrier.
I said, yeah. I said, this is not, you do not order a gin and tonic. You're not doing that. And his girlfriend leaned over. She was on the other side of me. She leaned over and said, can he go to Gina's school?
I love
And
it.
that is actually how Gina's school started. They've now been married for 5 years.
Oh.
The book is dedicated to them.
And how you were schooling them.
And this was just like, sometimes you just need to say no.
Yeah.
No. Or you need to say, put the phone away. We are not sitting at a dinner. And this I say, my students, for example, are not allowed to use any electronic devices in my classrooms. They have to buy books. They have to write notebooks. Every electronic device, including an ankle bracelet from your parole officer or your pacemaker, has to be turned off in my classroom.
I love it.
And it is not something we discuss. People are like, how do you get them to do that? I said, they're not allowed not to.
Right.
It's quite simple. I mean, and I tell them in the first week of class, I say that if I see your hand in your lap, I'm going to give you a break and assume you're masturbating.
Oh dear.
Because we have services that can help with that. We can send you to a therapist. There's ways we can get you help. But if that's your phone or your iWatch, you're out. You just find another class, because that is unacceptable. And they just mostly think she'll say something about masturbation out loud, and I can't be in this class, and they'll leave, or they'll put their phones away. And it's right. So it's all, again, about making the human connection. And so Gina School is about saying those slightly uncomfortable things, so that, for example, Lori, you were saying earlier, before the show started, we were talking about how at different points of life, about how to decide when certain things are over. And one of the Gina School ones that I think, again, my co-creator for this is a young man named John Gibbett. And it's lesson 16, because a big question in life, and it's not only in personal relationships, but in work situations, it's in parts of life, it's in all kinds of situations. How do you know when it's over? You no longer wonder if it's over.
Yeah. Yep.
And that, there
and it's a person in a stage theater watching a show that the curtains have been closed, and
the curtains closed, and
it's done.
And she's by herself in the
Yep.
seats. Everyone else has left,
and she knows this stuff.
and everyone else knows that it's over.
I hate to jump in. It's such a great conversation, but Gina, I got to go to break. So
Okay.
what I'm going to do is read a little bit about why you did this from the introduction. I'm simply doing what I've done since that glorious day when I could afford copay for therapy. I'm attempting to provide an origin story and justification for existence, which is beautiful and allows us all to have that journey with you. But we'll be right back. I do have to get us some good commercials that support our wonderful show. And stay with us, Gina. I'm looking forward to hearing some more about those 102, or is it 103? 103 lessons and the beautiful artwork that goes with it.
Gina Barreca.
Welcome back to Connections Radio Show, where we talk about ideas that matter. I'm glad you've joined the conversation. Our topic today is we are not alone and we are not nuts. I'm Lori Fitz, your host. And hosting with me today is Rick Bernardo, who has invited a very special guest of ours.
We have Gina Barreca, University of Connecticut professor, writer, humorist, feminist, deep human being, and always with a wink and a smile. Her new book is Gina School, and we've covered, I would say, 5 or 6 other books that she's written. Maybe at least 4, but we've mentioned a bunch of her books. The introduction to Gina School alone kind of gives you an angle, and we've been talking about that angle anyway with Gina. But let me just read a little bit from another part of the introduction. Gina, you just shared the gin and tonic story about how it came to be, but here's the introduction. She says, possessing a delightful delightful, some would say enthralling, habit of knowing precisely what people need to hear, it's virtually imperative for me to dispense wisdom. It's almost advice, really. But with all the good I've done in the world, nobody could say that, or at least not to my face and not more than once. It's hard to control the urge to shout advice at unsuspecting schmoes. That's her. Gina Barreca.
Good morning, Gina.
Hello, everybody. Yes, unsuspecting schmoes. I was trying, I'm trying not to be the woman on the bus.
Yeah.
Who's telling people, don't put your bag down on that, and then put your bag. You're going to put the bag that you had on the floor of the bus on your kitchen tabletop. What's wrong with you? This is like,
What's wrong with you?
Well,
I didn't want to title, the book to be titled "What's Wrong with
or
You?"
the guy that tells you that you can't come on his lawn and get off his grass. None of that. I guess you'd call me a suspecting schmo, because I want this. I want this. And
there you go.
As I was reading through it, and I will say again to the listening audience, I'm buying a bunch of these for the holidays. And you may want to consider this to have at Thanksgiving on your coffee table. Great conversation to be able to be had with Gina's schooling in Gina's school. Some of the things that strike me, I think back when I read them to how I felt then and now. There's a lot of then and nows of what strikes me first is like, that's how I felt. And I don't feel exactly the same way now, but it still resonates.
I think that you're right. There is a lot about reflection here, and of realizing. There's one that was about writing in a notebook from when I was a kid, and the artist John said, "So what kinds of things did you like doodle in the margins? Because I'll do a version of that." And I thought that was just wonderful that he wanted to get my doodles correct, and that I realized that I always thought, if I want something, I can't have it.
Right.
I can only have what I don't want. And so if I want something, if I want something that I have not, I have to seem as if I can't want it. I'm looking for the page.
Yeah.
And it's that sort of looking back and thinking, I've spent my life trying to get away from that idea. And then there's the fun stuff from an early age that I talk
But before
about.
before you go to that one, before you go to that, I liked that one a lot.
Okay.
And it was both sad and it was freeing as well to remember that that's how I felt, but it's not how I feel now. I loved that. I loved that I thought that I couldn't want something so much because then I wouldn't get it and then the disappointment would break my heart. But instead, looking back and going, I remember that teenage feeling. Yeah. And now I know, no, I can go for the joy.
Right.
That the joy is all there for me to have and not be shy about it.
And that's a wonderful way of putting it, Lori, because I think that if this is our habit, as it was, and this is the part of you're not nuts and you're not alone,
right?
Is just recognizing, or it took me a long time, and a lot of these they're lines from articles that I've written, over the last 35 years. But when I would say something about writing in my notebooks as a teenager, something like this would come up, and there would be, 400 people would say that line really meant something to me. And it would be like, I was making all kinds of pronouncements about big issues. That's not what counted. What counted is the stuff that comes through opening a vein, and letting your real self out. So that actually, the one we were talking about, Lori, is 94.
Okay.
And so the exact wording is, what I want, I can't have. I can only have what I don't want. To get something, I must not want it.
I remember seeing that.
And then the line is, I wrote this as a teenager and have spent most of my life trying not to believe it.
And do you not believe it now, right? Or do you believe it now?
No, I don't. But
right,
I also realize, but it's an excellent question.
Yeah.
But sometimes
it still haunts me.
Yeah.
I was going to say, sometimes these things still, they tap us on the shoulder now and then. In my ethics courses, it's about logic, but the way I framed it was we have our own superstitions sometimes. Definition of a superstition is something that doesn't have a ton of evidence, but it's only a superstition when you don't know it's a superstition. Once you know it's a superstition, you start to be free of it.
Oh, that's great.
And we
But
know
I
we
mean,
can point to it, that's a superstition over there, but it's not one for me, you know.
huh,
Because
But
you've
the
let
fact
go.
it gives you a chance to, Rick, just to go back to that, it's a
yeah,
really interesting idea. So it gives you a chance to contain it, like to
limit it,
release.
recognize it,
Yeah,
distinguish is a good word. Like all of a sudden I put glasses on and oh, those are blades of grass. It's not just like a green board. Now
right.
I can see that. Um, Yeah, so it has to do with, is there evidence for this or not? And we
Mhm.
carry these things around a lot in life. The lesson that I put in my ethics courses is why is a superstition only a superstition when it's not? Now that's mind bending, and I have them work with that. And but the answer is like it's only one when you don't know and when it's running you.
Right,
It's running
right,
you in the background. Yeah.
right.
Anyway,
Right.
that's
No, but
all
that's
throughout your book as
well, it
well.
is that it's again the prompting of the conversation, of having to look
Yeah.
at it. But that's a really interesting thing. I'm going to think about that. Rick. I also think going back to what Laura was saying about the not pray the not to not alone, which again is
Right.
is one of my premises of the book, is to promise that you'll this will reassure you when you think nobody else thinks like this. Lesson 35. This one, like I wrote for me now. When you
Hmm.
said, Lori was saying, like, are you glad that you think about the past and you don't feel that way now? This is one I struggle with every day. And people don't believe it, but it really, it's okay. So this 35 is you cannot count on the praise of others to keep you going ever.
Hmm.
You will almost never get it. And when you do get it, you won't get enough of it. And when you do get it, it won't be the right kind. Also, it probably won't be the right person saying it, or it won't be about the right thing. It doesn't work that way. Learn to give yourself credit.
What I
And that's hard to do,
Yeah, it's very
right?
hard to do. But by putting it in those words, sometimes when I had was reading your work, I was thinking, so someone else really did think this because I've been thinking this.
Yeah.
That's the not alone part. It's like you feel like there's this voice in your head that's the only one that has said this.
Hmm.
Um, and you bring, there's delightful sarcasm in this, but there's also truth underneath the sarcasm about you're not you don't always get what you want.
Right.
You get back to that great song, but sometimes you get what you need.
Hmm.
And what is that? What is it that being able to help define what we need is so much more interesting than being upset about what we don't have.
And also absolutely. And that is regret is such a tricky
Yeah.
idea that one of the pieces is about, and again with a beautiful illustration, that it's fine to go back to the past as long as you understand you can't stay there.
Hmm.
And John did a tunnel. It's like you're passing through. This is not a place you can stay. And regret can become overwhelming for some people, because it's a kind of self-flagellation.
Right.
It's not something that's going to make them better or teach them something. You could be like, oh, I wish I had done that. That's fine. But to keep going back to that, I shouldn't have done this, I shouldn't have done
That
this.
agony.
it-
Yeah.
yeah, it is. It
Yeah.
is. It's a version of impaling yourself over and over again on a stake that is sticking out of a wall. And so a lot of these are about being able to look back and forth at your different versions of
Hmm.
yourself, that you can borrow courage
Yep.
from your older self. I often think that what I would like to do is to go back to my younger self and really tell her it'll be okay. But she never would have believed it.
Right.
But it's sort of like we're nesting dolls.
Mhm.
There are all those early versions of us, those little smaller versions of us
And he
are
he
still
and he
there.
illustrates that. I love
Yeah,
it.
yeah, yeah.
Yeah. And it's really, that earlier version of ourselves where the idea that ourselves are connected like paper dolls.
Before
We're separate entities, but we're connected.
before we forget, Gina Barreca has her website is Gina Barreca is spelled Barreca, Barreca.com. And her publisher's website is Woodhall Press, just the way it sounds, woodhallpress.com for Gina School, her new book.
And you can also get it on Amazon,
Yeah, yeah, yeah.
which I'm going to be doing.
And at IndieBound and at every your local lovely bookstore. So,
Yeah, yeah. That's a great place
yeah.
to go.
Yeah.
And we will need to take another break, but we'll be right back. And we have more to talk about and more lessons to learn from Gina in Gina School. Welcome back to Connections Radio Show. I'm Lori Fitz, your host, and our topic today has been We Are Not Alone and We Are Not Nuts. And hosting with me is Rick Bernardo, who invited our wonderful guest who we've had on several times and hope to have on several more.
And that is Gina Barreca. Her new book is Gina School. It's a witty and insightful guide offering emotional support and daily inspiration, teaching readers to embrace laughter as a way to connect with others. It's all in there in these little, it's like gems on a bracelet or necklace, or it's wonderful.
It's got great nuggets.
Oh, thank you so much. I want to stay here all the time.
It's always
After
wonderful.
saying that praise from other people doesn't matter. It's like, yes, it does.
It's always wonderful to have you. And this is a special one because it's a little artistic journey of wisdom. And it allows us to think about our life, open up conversation, enjoy the art as well as the words. And I think you just go to a different place with this book. It allows you to journey with the book, with yourself, but it also can help connect with others. And that's why I'm encouraging folks to take a look, buy this book for yourself, read it, enjoy it, but then have it on the coffee table. You know that Thanksgiving is a challenge, and holidays are a challenge. And sometimes it's awkward. And in our climate that we are living in right now, and I'm not talking about the weather, can be a challenge. How can we come together and connect? And I think this is one good step in that direction for family, because family can be challenging, as you have noted in Gina's School.
It's again so much about humor, and again, as you both of all people know, how essential humor is to survival. It's really a survival skill, and that again, humor turns what could otherwise be a terrible moment into something that it can be transcendent. It's like it's alchemy. It changes straw into gold.
Mm-hmm.
But in lesson 4 was really absolutely written as I just took down the language. So lesson 4, it's a dialogue. My young friend says, we're going to visit my husband's parents. During part of it, we're doing an escape room adventure. My husband says, what's that? My friend says, she explains, it's where a group of people who don't really know each other are locked together and need to figure out how to get out within a set time limit. My husband says, basically a regular family holiday then. So, I mean,
It's true.
This is how we really kind of, like what they call Thanksgiving is now called escape room.
It's nice to know that you've got the map to help people get out of the escape room.
It's just like what it is. But then, there's the recognition. Lesson 13, John did a beautiful illustration. For Italians, cooking is more choreography than culinary.
Yes.
It's the dancing of the food. And then another one that's appropriate for Thanksgiving is number 20. He did a beautiful illustration of a bone, of a wishbone. And it's one of the ones that really, again, come from my heart. And it was a little tricky to admit this, and I'm glad that I did. I live for scraps. I want the bits, the
Mhm.
burnt parts, the crispiest pieces, the gravy and the bones. When Springsteen sings that spare parts and broken hearts keeps the world turning, he's right. Leftovers are not only the best part of Thanksgiving, for many of us, leftovers are the best parts of life.
That one got me thinking. I
Mm,
loved that. I
thank
I I paused and I reread that lesson like about 4 times
you.
and thinking about what are the leftovers in my life right now? And
Mm-hmm.
who are who are the friends and the things that we've done together that we redo is part of a leftover? That a
Right.
leftover of a memory, a leftover of a thing we did. How many leftovers do I celebrate? And so glad you picked that one because that one struck my heart.
No, thank you. And I do like there's another one about second chances. It's not, we get to revisit things, and it's not a do-over because it's never the
I was
same
going
as
to
it was the
say.
first time. But it's a sense to look back with a kind of if you're lucky, and you've been in therapy, it's a compassion on your younger self that allows you to understand why you did what you did. It gets you out of that sense of regret and allows you to realize why what you did was necessary for you to do at the time. But if you're faced with that, you can do something different.
It was part of your survival
Hmm.
and you chose to survive,
Right.
but now it doesn't have to be part of your survival.
Right. And
Now you can let go. And
right.
how do you embrace joy instead of survival?
Right. That's absolutely right. And it's the idea that, to justify having done something, you don't just have to keep doing it again and again,
No.
especially if it's something that didn't work.
Yeah.
Like we were talking before, there's something running us sometimes we don't even know was in
Right.
the background, tapping us on the shoulder, and sometimes even to myself, I have a perfectionism streak. A lot of people do, and it taps me on the shoulder all the time. But it's not needed if there's a due date for something. It's
Right.
good enough. It doesn't matter if it's perfect if it's late. You know that there's
Exactly.
things like that come up a lot in life where I've got to I've got to run it and be me rather than having something else run me.
I think the overall takeaway that I took from the whole set of lessons is how to give ourselves grace.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And it
If, if that's the truth, then I've done my job.
it's the truth. And everyone will probably have a different takeaway. And maybe today it's grace, and 10 years from now when I look at it, it's something else. But I think it's your wisdom allows us to reflect on each piece as well as come back to your piece over and over again as well.
We want to mention your website, Gina Barreca, BARRECA.com. Go there. Her new book is Gina School. And we've had her on, this is 5 times.
I'm going to tell people again, go to Amazon, buy her book, Gina
Yes.
School.
Gina
Write
School.
a good review. Write a good review.
It's wonderful.
I'll write a review. Do they let you review in Amazon? I'll review in Amazon.
Yeah.
Yes, they do. Oh,
All right.
I encourage it.
All right, I'll put my review in there. All right, buy the book, Gina. We love you. We hope to talk to you again soon, and we hope that lots of people buy your book because it's great.
Cute.
We'll
And I
buy
hope
a dozen of them. Yeah.
We'll get through the holidays together.
Yes. Cheers to you.